When Electrolux did floor care, they did one thing extremely well. Keep a design as cheap as possible and make it simple, stupid to repair. This has been something that a lot of other brands just could not compete with. A simple design that was easy to take apart, had minimal hardware, and most importantly, came apart like nothing. But yet, the plastic was still very thick. Everything was still relatively well built. Even their cheapest, crappiest machines were still decent when it came to the thickness of the plastic. And that's why certain old Electrolux Eureka machines are some of my favorite to work on. And I found one. I found one that I've been waiting to get for a long time. A Eureka Maxima bagged. Model of this one is 4750 Type A1, manufactured in 2008. So just like my bagless Maxima with the height adjustment, it was made the year after I was born. This was a Facebook Marketplace find. And it was the first vacuum I bought on Facebook Marketplace. It was about 45 minutes from where I lived. But because of tornado sirens, I was only going to be 20-ish minutes away from the guy. And sure enough, on my way back today from the siren tests that I went to, I picked it up. I will say that I paid a bit much for it. It was $40. But even then, that's not terrible. Thing is, well, worse for wear, the hose has some tape marks, so thankfully I have a spare, and the thing just needs to be cleaned. But let's see how it runs first. Well, at least it runs okay. That's all that you could really ask for. But that begs the question, is there any suction? Yes, but not a lot. The belt is obviously very stretched. The vacuum itself is very congested. This filter is not terrible, I will say. But the rest of it, it just sounds plugged. And we're gonna fix it. I'm Jack's Facts and Safety. Welcome back to the Workbench. Today's vacuum is a Eureka Maxima 4750A. Let's get to working. Okay, I have already disposed of the bag that was in this because it was pretty nasty and I don't need other people's dirt in my house. You can see the back chamber actually pretty darn clean for a cheapo bagged upright that doesn't have HEPA bag options. To get this little pre-motor filter out, I'm just going to take off this gasket. Get that out of the way. Get this little filter out. This is a type PL filter and type PL bag. There will not be as much talking in this because they are fairly simple machines. And I am quite sick, so I need to preserve my voice. I will also be yelling and screaming tonight, so that will not help. Also mention that I have a stabbing headache, so talking doesn't seem to help with that, so just keeping it low for now. Probably start with disassembly of the whole machine before we get the whole top half, before we get to this. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to take this part out and then throw the rest of the hose away. Again, I already have a spare hose, don't worry about it. cleared quite a layer of dust. A little backstory from this. The guy I acquired this from got this from a deceased relative. Not entirely sure of the details on that, but this is a dead man's machine. And I think giving this the proper restoration will help, I guess, honor him. Keeping something he owned in tip-top shape. As some of you know, I have a yellow Kenmore that belonged to my grandma, who died last year, the last week of April last year. And I have vet machines and a few others that I still keep around. It's my sort of memory for her because she loved that Kenmore. And judging by and ignoring some of this stuff, judging by how good of a condition this Maxima is in, I'm going to assume he took decent care of this too, because I'm pretty sure that this is the original brush roll. I mean, look at that. It's not terrible. Sure, the bearings sound not great because they're old, but usually these bristles are a lot more angled. Hold on. Kind of like this one. See how those bristles are angled? Like that? It's because this brush roll is a lot more worn out. Excuse me as I attempt to fix my little mishap. There we go. It really isn't a secure setup. So either it wasn't used a lot or it was taken care of. Judging by that number on this belt, going to assume it wasn't used a lot. Because 0208. The only real logical explanation is that belt is original to the machine, or the pack of belts that was used to replace that belt was really old. I mean, I'm sure it got some use because the hose has tape on it, but assembly out of the way. Because, okay. Where did that tiny screwdriver go? Right here. This belt guard's pretty clean. I like that. So he obviously used it, at least towards the end. or used it a lot at the beginning and didn't really touch it at the end. Or it was just taken care of and certain components were not taken into factor, like the brushel, which is fairly common. Even vacuums can hold on to someone's memory, I guess. Spring. I'm gonna be honest, having a dead man's machine and knowing the backstory behind this kind of makes me glad I'm doing this, because here in my home it's going to be properly taken care of. It is going to get used because I really like the Maximas, but it's going to get properly taken care of. These clips. Knowing this history of this vacuum and why it ended up on Facebook Marketplace, feels like I'm giving a purpose. And I guess this time that purpose is to preserve a memory. It may sound crazy, but that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing here. It's different working on a dead person's machine. When the proper care is taken, can do great things. I think I'll just leave that the way it is, actually. Is another problem for a different time. I'm not sure how long this thing is sat without being used. Just wipe that off because it's still good. sickness will do that. Not surprised that this is dirty. It's a Maxima. They usually aren't the cleanest vacuums out there. But use some improvement, to say the least. There it goes. How's this put together? Alright. These will be replaced with wire nuts, so they're just easier to take off in the future. That's what I like to do with these. As long as they aren't too damaged, I think I'll hold on to them. I'll leave that on the cord wires. Seems like these screws weren't put on very well from the factory. Not exactly a fan of that. Just get it off. There we go. Use the wire insulation. There we go. Jeez. What I do with this button off camera, let's bring out the rest of this. I have to undo some soldering if I want to get this out. Or just cut the wires and wire nut them in. You know what? I think I might just do that. Prepare yourselves. That's gonna make some people cringe, but it's gonna get wire netted back in, so it'll be okay. Well, I'm gonna deal with this off camera, and we will be back when it is all clean, okay? Alright, it is the next day. I still feel like crap, and all the parts have been washed and are now dried. As you can see, I've wire nutted the headlight assembly to the motor, as I said I would, because I had to get this headlight ballast out. Not ballast, but the connection for the headlight out to properly clean everything. Doing the wire nuts and the wires real quick so I can, when the headlight fitting through the motor cover. Also twist wires so that it'll work correctly. Front shell, back shell, pedal, headlight lens, air diverter with the gasket on it. Start off, we'll first install the switch. My friend Nate asked me, how are you able to put up with these things? And my response is, well, they're just plain old easy to work on. They're easy to work on. They were part of my childhood. And just shows that they really just don't make things like they used to. So, I mean, I had this thing completely taken all apart in under 30 minutes. And it really shows how much the American vacuum industry has fallen from grace. There isn't a lot holding these Maximas together, which is crazy because these things were very cheap. I think they cost even less than a modern day Power Force compact. Of course, that's not adjusted for inflation, obviously, but you get the idea. There we go. They don't nearly go together as quickly, but yeah, it's alright. It's okay. I am very much aware on how cheap these are. I'm very much aware on how garbage they were. But I just want to work on something easy anymore. having to work on sharks, and Dysons, and Dirt Devils, all of which are anything but easy. I just like to work on machines that will just go together. You know? Okay, let's see. And I don't care if people think I'm crazy for liking these things so much. We all have our favorites. And I think that everyone has to have at least one cheap vacuum out there that they don't hate. And if they don't, then I'm just gonna say they're lying. There are a lot of old Eureka vacuums, old Electrolux style machines that I'd say that I liked. I thought they were not bad. At least when it comes to serviceability. You can say what you want about filtration, and it's probably true. But when it comes to actually taking the thing apart and servicing it, these old Electrolux owned Eurekas, up right until Electrolux dipped from the US, no matter how bad you say they are, they were pretty darn easy to service. Can't remember exactly what kind of screw went here. We'll figure it out as we go. I think might have been Torx. Hold on. Nope, it's Phillips. So there are just some machines that people don't give credit for just being a lot easier to deal with. It's all about the setup and how good it filters. And I think that is a big part, but you need to consider more than just the performance or how it filters. You have to consider the things that will actually have an effect on you specifically, especially if you are the technician. Yes, I'm well aware that these Maximas are pieces of garbage when it comes to a lot of things, but compare this thing to a Shark or a Dyson in terms of how able you are to take the thing apart. What is the difference? You're worried about the design and the cost of a vacuum like this. I'm worried about, will I be able to get a dead man's vacuum up and running? It's good to have personal opinions. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having an opinion. I'm just saying sometimes the opinion gets in the way of actually doing the work. And I know this because I've done it too. But the opinion does not always have to get in the way of the work. And a lot of people that are vacuum collectors and technicians really need to realize that. I myself am not completely innocent of that either. You can have your opinions. Yes, you can. That's okay to have an opinion. But if you let it get in the way of your work, then why are you doing the work? And fact of the matter is, you know, I just don't care. How can you stand these things? Easy. You do what you do with other vacuums. You take it apart, you clean it, you put it back together, you make sure you did everything correctly. Oh, I forgot a piece. Okay, now that I've fixed my mistake, I can continue on and putting the machine back together. And with the things I was saying. And one of the things I want to say is, a lot of people really like to put their opinions in front of everything. If it doesn't align with my opinion, it's not correct. And this is, it's just stupid, to me at least. If you let your opinion dictate everything, it's just not going to work out. You are entitled to have an opinion, yes. If you let your opinion dictate the way you see everything, people are not going to like you. If you let your opinion dictate everything, then you are going to get some things very, very, very wrong. And then when someone comes along and says, "I told you so," you're not going to be very happy when they say that, because they did tell you so. Oh, that sucks. Oh well. Still holds. Quite frankly, people that let their opinion dictate the way they view everything are just people I don't want to be around. They're always the, "It's not me, it's you." that's just not going to fly in the real world. You're going to have people that do not agree with you, and you need to take their views into consideration, and they need to take your views into consideration. It's just like me with these Maximas. I like them because they're easy to work on, and they clean decent for something that was so cheap. Not a lot of vacuums can say that they go together this easy with a low price point. And they also clean very well. The same brush roll that the Maxima uses has been used in the other higher end Electrolux, Sanitaire, and other brands, other Eureka model uprights. This is the exact same brush roll the Sanitaire Force uses. That is one of my favorite vacuums of all time. And the Sanitaire Force and the vacuum it derived from, the Eureka Whirlwind Lightspeed, are considered fairly decent vacuums. They use the same brush roll as the Maxima, especially the ones with the narrower cleaning paths. So, the only reason why the Maximas don't clean well is because their filters clog so easily, being exposed like that. But you know what other machines do that? The Optima, the Whirlwind Lightspeed, the Boss Whirlwind Light, the Sanitaire Force Bagless, and a couple of other machines I'm blanking on the name of. And the thing is, a lot of the other higher end bagless uprights from Eureka weren't all that great at filtering either. The Ultima, the Boss 4D, and whatever the bagless Smart Vac was, and of course the Whirlwind Cyclonics, were not good at their jobs either. So long story short, my friend Nate Johnson asked, how are you able to put up with these? And my response, just like every other vacuum. This is the hose that came off of that Maxima 4700D, the one with the height adjustment and the dust cup with a flap at the bottom. Had the lowercase lettering with the weird font, and it had the Eureka logo going up the side. That thing was just in terrible shape, and I just put it out of its misery. And even though I messed up a couple things, look how fast this thing is going back together compared to the other machines I've had on the workbench. I won't have bags for this coming until Tuesday. However, that does not stop us from turning the thing on and making sure it works. However, when we do that, I will be disconnecting the hose from the back so I don't actually pick anything up and send it straight into the motor. Clicks, it's torqued enough. Again, there is no bag I have available right now. That's coming on Tuesday. It's currently Sunday the 4th. Sunday the 4th of May. And I will not have bags coming until the 6th. Speaking of which, the 6th is, I think, is some kind of election here in my city. And I don't mean to get terribly political, but I also don't want certain kinds of people on my channel, so I hope that you know that when it comes to this upcoming election in my city, which will be my first ever election, so hooray for me, as much as I like the color red, my ballot will be blue. Because I don't know if you know this, but I am not a straight person. It's been hard to tell because I don't like to admit it out loud, but I'm not a straight person, and I have a lot of friends that are also not straight, and I don't want to vote for someone that will hurt me or them. So, because of that, my ballot will be blue, and I hope yours will be too. As you can tell, I'm very good at setting stuff down. Sarcasm. I'm not. So by the time I upload this video, it will already be past the election, because I will be running this machine with the bag in it. Just letting you know what's going on between time it is taken to upload this. And if you have a problem with me choosing a different political party than you, then you do not need to be here. You know where the door is. Okay, so this does not want to go over. There we go. I appear to have missed a screw, so we're gonna have to find where that one goes. Oh, I know where that goes. Back here on the handle for the dust bag cup. And I like to do this on a lot of my machines. Take a little bit of multi-purpose grease and put it on the hinges to reduce the amount of wear and tear that's going to happen. This is just a preventative step. I like to keep things from wearing out as much as possible. to the base. Just like that. Clips. Now the machine has its base again. Have to stretch the hose over itself a little bit because the bagged and the bagless models have a completely different setup. And now reach into my bulk box of belts. Bought a 10-pack of Eureka Sanitaire Type U belts from the Sanitaire store. I have a lot of Type U machines, and I'd rather be prepared than not. And it's only $16. This did not come with a dusting brush, so it will not be complete. However, I did find a listing on eBay for a Eureka Airspeed tool set. That includes the dusting brush and a crevice tool, which is good because that Airspeed Gold could use a crevice tool, and this could use a dusting brush. And because they're the same color, it all works out. They use the same dusting brush too. Alright, there it is, back together, nice and clean. I'm going to go get some earplugs because these are not quiet, and then I'm going to disconnect the hose so I don't suck any dirt into the motor, and we will test it. Alright, so here it is. It's all plugged in. Hose is disconnected. And yeah, 3, 2, 1, blast off. I like the sound of that. I like that a lot. Alright, so I will now fast forward to when this has a bag in it, and we will try it out performance-wise. Okay, so the bags for this and the new filter for that actually came in today, Monday, the next day. So yeah, has a bag in there, and we can now run it. like that. Well, there you have it. Eureka Maxima 4750 restoration, refurbishment, whatever you want to call it. I'm Jax of Access Safety. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.